Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, acting as your lead blocker to fantasy glory, fantasy excellence, fantasy championships, trophies, and all that good stuff. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. And I'm just going to be honest with you people. If I seem a little bit different today than I often do, not the usual chipper truth that you're used to. It's been a bad fucking fantasy week, and I'm not too happy about it. It's just one of those things you forget when you have success over a period of time. And I've had a very good team this year. You forget what it feels like to not do well, to get humiliated, to have nothing work. And that's what I've been going through. It's like you go to bed and you just feel bad about yourself. You feel like your wife or your girlfriend left you, or like you got fired from your job or something like that. That's how I feel right now. My team.
We deserve it at weeks like this. You just know, you look in the mirror and you're like, why do I deserve anything good in my life? When I play Jeff Wilson in my starting lineup and he doesn't log a fucking snap. Yeah, I'm with you, Nat. I think a lot of people are in that boat of just a fucking horrible week. NFL wise, I mean, what a wild week. We'll kind of hit both as we recap this thing because there's just some crazy games we have to touch upon too. Yeah. Madness, just madness for fantasy, madness in the real world for football, just madness in life. And we don't deserve anything good in our lives. I'm with you, Nat, for our fantasy sins.
No, everything was bad. Now, I admit, I didn't do anything like the Jeff Wilson thing.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
You can't be that. No, most people aren't that dumb. I am, but
I'm sorry that happened to you. I wish you better than that. But I mean, just real quick, just really quickly before we start going into this stuff. I mean, think about what happened. The Broncos destroyed the Cowboys in Dallas. Yeah. Like, basically should have shut them out. Cincinnati got bludgeoned by the Browns. The Jaguars beat the Bills, held them to 6 points. This is the worst defense in the NFL, just to be clear. So if you saw that coming, you're a better man than me. The Rams, basically impotent on Sunday night. Just, the Derrick Henry-less Titans, just all of a sudden, what, do they have like the best defense in the NFL all of a sudden? What's going on? I didn't know any of this. I watch football all the time. I didn't know any of this stuff.
4 of the top contenders for the Super Bowl just, a week or two ago, now suddenly look pathetic.
And the Chiefs, they suck. I know they won. They won, but I mean, they scored like 13 points. And if they had been playing like an NFL quarterback, I'm sure they'd have lost by 2 touchdowns.
It is I know, I get it. I know it's a fancy show, but who would you actually say is the best team in the AFC right now? Is it still the Bills after losing the AFC?
I cannot look you in the eye in good conscience and say that a team that just scored 6 points against the worst defense in the league is the best team in the AFC. I can't say that. I'm going to
the Titans. It might be the Titans by now.
I'm going to say the Titans, and I'm shocked to be saying that. And it's not like I think they're a juggernaut, but yeah, I guess right now they're the best team in the AFC.
And call me nuts and call me a optimistic home.
No, I know exactly what you're going to say.
I think the Patriots can sneak on in there, baby. I really do.
They're definitely going to be a playoff team. They're a game back in their division.
And they have 2 against that pathetic Bills team that can't beat the Jags. Oh, baby. But let's get into some fantasy. Sure. If we keep talking about the landscape of the NFL and certainly our fantasy teams, we'll never get out of here. We'll just be stuck in quicksand.
Right, let's get into it.
Of madness. So let's talk about at least some good players and the bad too. All your risers, fallers, all the usage recap coming at you live, folks. And then, of course, if you have any questions out there, hit those in the mailbag. We'll get them all. And, of course, that thumbs up button, shares, retweets, all that good stuff. A free, easy way to help us grow. So appreciated. Thank you again, guys, for being tuned in here, whether you're live or catching the recap. This is truly, I think, the best show. Well, I love our Thursday night show in terms of like enjoyment factor. I like that. But in terms of actual knowledge, this recap show fucking kills it.
Thursday, it's a great show. And the people that come in and check us out are awesome. The Thursday show is different. There's all this hope. Anything's possible going into the week on Thursday. Like on Monday, usually I'm feeling good because I got it locked up. But today I just feel terrible. So hopefully I'll rally and I'll give you the stellar hosting that you're used to. And we're going to start the quarterback movers. And some of these are good. Some of these are bad. We're going to start with Lamar Jackson, 27 out of 41. Maybe the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. I don't know.
It could be.
27 out of 41, 266 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Not bad. Although let's add 21 carries for $120 onto that. That is the 3rd most rushing attempts by a quarterback in NFL history. Those are legit running back numbers. I wonder where he is in the rushing pantheon right now amongst all rushers in the NFL this year. I don't know that answer, but that's a pretty monster fantasy game. That is Konami upside, as the Wolf likes to say, of the highest degree.
Absolutely. And just from a real life point of view, too, he had been entering this year 0-6 when he was down 2 scores at halftime. The whole narrative, he can't throw and come back. He's got nothing. He has now won all 4 games where he's been down by 2 scores at halftime so far this year. He's flipping the narrative. I think he has to be in your MVP conversation so far this year. And fantasy MVP, he's starting to approach that because of, as you said, that Konami upside. Insane. Matt Ryan, you'd think he would drop off huge without Calvin Ridley. Yet another 300-yard day. It seems like he's kind of regaining some juice. I don't know if I really want to fully buy into that, but 343, 23 of 30, wins 27-25. The Falcons sneaky. Is it 5 straight wins now? I mean, they are ripping it up at this point, and no Calvin Ridley, no problem. We'll talk about how the pass catchers did a little bit later, but with a nice juicy matchup against the Cowboys coming up, we just saw what Teddy Bridgewater did to him. I think Matt Ryan has to be in your starting and streaming conversations moving forward.
And I just want to read a text back and forth between you and I. This is from Friday, October 29th. Actually, a little before that. And I said, these two teams, the Bucs and the Rams, are all very good teams in the NFC. I'm talking about the Cardinals game and the Packers that were on TV the other day. And then you said the NFC playoffs are going to be effing awesome. Then I say Cowboys could be interesting too. And then I say Falcons could even sneak in. You go, I like Dallas a lot. Falcons suck. LOL. No chance.
Well, here they are. They're getting a little hot. Matt Ryan seems to know his window is going to be slamming shut soon. I've always liked Arthur Smith. He's got the boys playing well. Let's see what happens. I'm into it.
All right. Let's talk about guys that are falling off the face of I don't know what to say about this. I know Mahomes is on the banner. Let's talk about Josh Allen real quick. Not the Josh Allen that beat the shit out of him on the field on the other team, but this Josh Allen, 31 out of 47 for 264. Not very efficient there. No touchdowns, 2 picks in the Bills, and I'm not reading this wrong. 9-6 loss to the Jaguars, adding 50 rushing yards and losing a fumble on 5 carries. What a shitty game.
Absolutely shitty.
He was 2-1 to win MVP, I think, which was crazy, by the way. 2-1 going into that game to win MVP. Nuts.
Awful stuff. 9.6 fantasy points was his lowest since week 4 of 2019. That is insane. It tells you how good he's been, but that is pathetic to see it. And, Joe Bashulia of the Bills there, the Athletic, we had him on this summer. Great guy. He says they're getting the quote unquote Chiefs treatment, playing a lot of cover 2 shell, taking away any type of deep shots, making the running backs beat them, and they just can't do it. So Pat Mahomes, and we could talk about next on this list.
Yeah, let's talk about Pat Mahomes
as well. The Chiefs, 166 yards and 1 TD. He has 4.5 yards per attempt. This is insane. The guy had not averaged below 6 yards per attempt ever. And now in 4 of his last 6 games, he has been under that. That had happened, again, 3 times across 27 games in his career. Now it's happened in 4 of his last 6. Again, defenses have just seemed to figure out these big-armed quarterbacks. They're making them beat them in other ways, and I guess Mahomes did beat them this week. The Jags did not get beat by Josh Allen. So we'll see if either of these quarterbacks can figure these defenses out, but it seems like some NFL teams have the blueprint, how to stop Josh Allen, how to stop Pat Mahomes. We'll see how it plays out, huh?
If I said to you going into that Bills-Jags game, if I said to you, I'm a psychic, and I can tell you right now, the Jags are going to score 9 points. What percent chance would you say that the Bills would win that game? 100?
110.
Like, you'd be like 9 points for the Jags?
You're probably right.
9 points for the Jags sounds about right.
You're psychic because, yes, of course, the Jags, 9 points might be a little generous for them. But okay, I can see that. Maybe they put up a little fight and have 9 points and lose by 35. But yeah, nuts. Absolutely nuts. Ugh.
All right. Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Burrow completed 28 out of 40. That's 70%. Not terrible, but only 282 yards, 2 picks in Cincinnati's 41-16 week 9 ass kicking at the hands of the Browns. These games just keep on coming, right? I mean, he actually went down the field pretty easily the first time they had the ball, but then he threw a pick 6. It was like 96 yards, 98 yards, something like that.
It was 100. I think it was intercepted in the end zone and went all the way down the field.
It was 98 at least.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. They never came back. I mean, there were flashes of brilliance occasionally. T. Higgins had some nice catches. Jamar Chase had a couple drops, like some signature drops that we were worried about maybe going into the year. And they just got their ass kicked.
Yep. And Jalen Hurts, another shitty game. They're starting, of course, when Miles Sanders gets hurt, to lean on the run game. He had 31 pass attempts per game on average. Actually, no, 35 on average from weeks 1 to 7. He has 31 total pass attempts across his last 2. And his fantasy floor, which was so high and, top 10 QB every single week, he started to crater out because of it. Yes, of course, it's not the pass attempts that are making him a fantasy viable start. It's, of course, his legs. But the fact that he was throwing it, 30 times a game, especially in comeback mode, was at least making this guy viable. They have completely flipped the script and run it, over 50 times in back-to-back weeks. That's really going to cap this guy's ceiling and floor moving forward. Never mind the fact that he could just get benched for Gardner Minshew at any point. You got to be worried about him. Very worried about him.
All right, we're going to talk Trevor Simeon, Taysom Hill, that combo, and I'm just going to read almost directly from the notes here. If Taysom Hill is named the starter, he's easily the best waiver wire pickup amongst quarterbacks. I think I probably agree with that too. Combine his rushing, and then this part cracks me up. In a plus matchup versus the Titans, who are a bottom 10 defense versus quarterback. Are they though? Are they a bottom 10 defense? I'm not sure. But all that aside, Simeon did have solid stats in week 9. He had 249 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't necessarily make it a preordained thing that Taysom Hill is going to be the guy, right?
No, I don't think so. I wish it was for fantasy purposes, but Simeon just keeps doing just enough to hold on to this job and cap us of another viable starter. This guy didn't play this week. In fact, his team didn't, but I did want to make sure it's clear. Russ Wilson officially cleared. Huge news on the rest of the season big board for him. Right back into your top 8 QBs. Big for the weapons, of course, even more so. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, who both did have good games against the Jags that Josh Allen can't figure out. But
right. that puzzle that is the Jaguars defense. Right.
It just makes no sense. What the hell is the NFL anymore? I don't know. But Russ Wilson will be walking into the 7th easiest schedule moving forward for QBs. So right into some cakewalk matchups. You love to see it. I'm excited to watch what the Seahawks team does down the stretch.
Alvin Kamara rushed 13 times for 50 yards and a touchdown in the Saints' Week 9 loss to the Falcons. He did add 4 receptions for 54 yards. That's the Konami upside. I guess for a running back, it's what's the pass catching equivalent of running for a running back?
I don't know. There should be a name for that, right?
Yeah,
it is Konami
because it's like that's where. That's the gravy. Like that's the thing that you're looking for. It's like, you had an okay game, but here's an extra 11 points.
Exactly. Like 2.84 times the value of a carry is a target in PPR leagues. The reason Kamara's on here, though, that's a pretty solid stat line. But we also saw Ingram mixing in now. For how many did he have this week? 43 rush yards on 9 attempts, 5 catches for 21. That's pretty damn annoying that he had more catches than Alvin Kamara. And it just goes to show you Kamara that was seeing 30 touches, setting career highs each and every week in his carries. That's not happening anymore with Ingram there. We knew it. We knew there was going to be a hit. I don't know that any of us saw it being quite as big as it is right now. And I think it certainly knocks Kamara outside your top 5 rest of season rankings down towards the bottom 12 of the first round, in my opinion.
And imagine if Taysom Hill does get that job, that extra ding on Kamara. Like, he might not be a top 10 guy.
No, he might not. And just to show you again how much it was the difference, JJ Zachariason, one of my favorite follows on Twitter at Late Round QB. Alvin Kamara before the Ingram trade, 83.5% running back rush share, 22.3% target share. He's now seen 65% of the rush share, 14% of the target share. Huge dings across both.
You're talking him 25-30% of like his total aerial pie and ground pie.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into somebody that go ahead. Next one, James Conner. Talk to us about these guys. And James Conner, I can tell you right now what you can do, and it's not positive.
Yeah. So in week 2, before we keep going here, week 2, he had 0 touchdowns. He had I think 40 yards on the ground. My fantasy locker room needed a message. I decided to make James Conner the sacrificial lamb and send him packing. What's he up to now? 11 touchdowns since I got him? Holy hell. And
hold on. But didn't you pick someone up for him, though?
Oh, a real big stud who I started this week. Jeff Wilson. He's finally back. I cut Conner for him. They're lined up against each other. Let me send a message and show James Conner who I cut him for. My guy didn't log a snap. His guy, James Conner, 21 carries, 96 yards, 2 TDs, 5 catches, 77 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And just to in terms of watching him, I kept thinking he's like a slug. He's gross. He's just getting running back. He looked fast as fuck when he was in space.
When he was running away from the pathetic defense chasing him, he dropped 40 points on me.
It was insane. Yeah, so that's a huge kick to the balls. My fantasy locker room, I wanted to send a message to them. I've now lost them completely when they watch this guy on the other side of them going ham. We also have Chase Edmonds. He got hurt in the first drive there, high ankle sprain, likely headed to the short-term IR, could miss 4 to 6 weeks. For however long he's out, if Connor holds up, now granted, let's not forget Connor is among the most injury-prone players in the NFL right now. If he holds up, he's going to be a running back one from now until whenever Edmonds returns, and even probably after. They're just going to keep riding this guy. We can't pretend like he's just completely foolproof because, again, there is some big injury history. I do think Eno Benjamin, a very sneaky ad in very deep leagues, just in case something does happen to Connor. But, man, if nothing does happen, he's going to be a league winner. I sent him packing, and I am an absolute moron for it.
Mitch just dropped us $5, but it's a question I'm going to save for question time, Mitch, if that's okay. It's, because we could talk about Mahomes all day, but thank you so much already for throwing some love our way. I promise I'll give you at least a minute or so on that Mahomes rant that you're asking about. Nick Chubb doing some big dick action, rushing 14 times for $137 and 2 scores, hauling in his only 2 targets for 26 receiving yards in Cleveland's drubbing of Cincinnati that we've already referenced. The contrast of that is Dearness Johnson, 8 rushes, 16 yards. So if you're wondering who's, swinging the big dick around, it's Nick.
And even more so, Dearness didn't touch the ball till the last 2 possessions. He had all that work after they were up 34-16.
The 8 carries is actually a little misleading.
It looks like it was like, oh, okay, they're still doing the Kareem Hunt like light roll with Dearness Johnson. No, it was 16-1 before they were completely blowing the doors off. And Chubb, only 2 targets. Doesn't seem like much. It's actually a 10.5% target share, given how low they throw the ball there. That's not bad. He made a beautiful catch on the sidelines. Maybe that inspires a little more receiving work until Kareem Hunt's back. Either way, what a beastly performance. You love to see it from a bona fide RB1. I remember he scored the touchdown, and Hills was like, that guy's really fast. I'm like, yeah. And he's also like 230 pounds of sheer muscle. Imagine getting when he gets a full head of steam. I mean, other than Derrick Henry.
You want to know who he reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of Frank Gore.
Yeah, like a prime, like just ball of muscle.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
By the way, do you know that Frank Gore has been challenged to fight on one of these boxing cards?
Yeah.
Celebrity boxing cards. I don't care who he's fighting. I'm picking Gore.
Oh, all day. He just has to whip out the sledgehammer.
I know, seriously.
And the nutcracker in his pants. Oh, God. You saw this guy come back, and it wasn't probably quite as big as you expected. He was supposed to be eased in. He still saw nearly 78% of the running back rushes, a 17% target share. That's Christian McCaffrey. That's RB1 usage right there, seeing 19 opportunities compared to 6 for Abdullah and 5 for Hubbard. I mean,
you have to think those numbers are going to continue to separate.
Oh, right? Yeah. He put up 106 total yards on just 49% of the snaps. Moving forward, now that he made it through the game and is fully healthy, which is, of course, even bigger importance here, I imagine he's going to be playing. I mean, he was before getting hurt 90% of the snaps. I think he'll get right back up to 70%, 75%. Maybe they work at a little more Amir Abdullah and Chuba, but I don't expect that. I think this was about as bad of a game, and he still had 14.5 PPR points. That's his floor. And that's a pretty damn nice floor to have baked in, other than, of course, the floor being he gets hurt again and we never see him, which could very well happen. But it's very solid percentage, very solid usage in his first game back. It's only uphill from here.
It also seemed like they used him more, especially out of the backfield as a receiver in the second half. Seems like they didn't.
At one point, you're like, do they forget McCaffrey can catch?
No, they were throwing these little, screen passes to Chuba Hubbard. And I was like, well, this seems very intentional. And I do think it was intentional. But in the second half, he was their guy. So, I mean, all that receiving work was in the second half. He got over 50 yards in the air. I left it fairly encouraged, actually.
Yeah.
Broncos running backs, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, 21 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. 2 catches for 15. A lot of people have been waiting for Javonte Williams to take over this backfield, yours truly included, although I went against Melvin Gordon, and I was like, oh, he sucks, except he doesn't suck when he plays against me. So anyway, that was Melvin Gordon's stat line that I just read you. I believe that Williams rushed for, 111, 121 on the ground himself. So
111 on 17 carries, and he looked so damn good doing it.
So 200 yards between these guys, first of all. There's a reflection on the Cowboys, but they're both clearly good. If you look at the opportunities, that's carries plus targets. Gordon had 24, Williams 17. So, I mean, Williams put up those numbers on – that's like a 40% rate, something like that, as far as the opportunities they were getting. Does it seem just like it's going to be a two-headed monster going forward?
It really does. Like, we keep clamoring for the breakout for Javonte, and I guess I got a little frustrated with the usage to the point where I benched him, and that was stupid. Because again, it was from Jeff fucking Wilson. Like, I don't know why I want to
literally anybody that you benched in favor of Jeff Wilson was stupid. If you had plugged me in one of your running back spots, we would have put up identical. Would have been identical numbers.
You saw as much field time as Jeff Wilson did. Oh, I don't know why I keep reiterating that. I just want to make myself sick. I think I'm a glutton for punishment. I like to be hurt.
I think the reason you bring it up is because when people tell you make bad calls, it's really important for them to know, like, you're putting your money where your mouth is. Like,
yeah,
you know, if you told anyone to play Jeff Wilson and it was a huge mistake, guess what? You ate that.
Exactly.
And that's why you say it.
But just to reiterate with Melvin Gordon, 4 touchdowns in 6 games. So as you said, like, he doesn't look very good, but he's getting all the money gravy touches when they get in close. Meanwhile, Javonte Williams has 1 touchdown across 6 games. It's like, if Gordon does go down, my God, how valuable Javonte would be, because he'd get that goal line work. He'd get those 6 to 8 touchdowns in addition to just steamrolling. Which again, he has the most 30-plus yard runs on like half the next carries. It's crazy how good this guy is. Man, I can't wait for him to shake free. Next year, Melvin Gordon is a free agent. So anyone in keeper leagues, dynasty leagues, the Javonte show isn't far, folks. He's going to be a top 5 guy next year. Just wait.
Cordell Patterson, 9 rushes for 10 yards. My God, what a terrible game. Oh, right. He also caught 6 passes out of 6 targets for $126 and basically won the game for the Falcons. I mean, what do? We talk about his 15-point base, right? We talk about that all the time. The 21, I think, fantasy points yesterday. I mean, the guy's the real deal, and he's not doing it by rushing basically at all.
He gets it all done. This was great to see him lead the team in receiving the first game without Ridley. We'll, again, talk about their other pass catchers. He's just their engine. He has over 30% of the team's total touches and yards. He is just the Falcons, and they're winning. It's awesome to see. I've always liked Cordell. I've always hoped for him to get the right opportunity, and now he has 15 opportunities compared to 11 for Davis. That's 11 too many, because Davis put up, 15 total yards, something pathetic. I mean, it is clearly the Cordell Patterson show, and you just got to love rooting for the guy in terms of, obviously you want to see him play well, but he has some of the best quotes too. He said something along the lines of, like, people like, you're playing special teams and receiver and running back. How do you do it? He's like, my mom raised me working 3 jobs. I think I can handle playing 3 different positions at the NFL level. That's nothing compared to what she did for me. I just love, you got to love a guy like that. Just humble, up, like, just sick. He's the man. I fucking love him.
He's a guy that came out really highly touted. I remember when we worked together, we both really loved him, and he was essentially a bust for the first several years of his career. Like, a lot of guys in that situation, like, would be such dicks.
Yeah.
And like, you never was. You were just kind of like, all right, I guess he's not going to be what we thought he was going to be. And he seemed to handle it with class. And now it's really nice to see him come into his own.
I love it. Yeah. Devin Singletary, I never really want to hype this guy up, but Zach Moss did leave the game with a concussion. And we saw Singletary play over 79% of the snaps. As a result, 6 carries, 16 yards, pretty damn pathetic. But he did see 7 catches on 8 targets, 43 yards. That's the money work. That's the gravy work right there. And if we got Zach Moss out next week, they are lined up against the Bills, who we just saw Nyheim Hines put up 21 and Jonathan Taylor put up 35 points against. They are such an absolutely pathetic run D that I do think Singletary would be top 5. Not top 5. Okay, that's exaggerating, but probably top 15 play next week. And certainly the number 1 waiver wire ad. He got dropped in pretty much every league with owners that are actually paying attention, and rightfully so. He's been useless. He should be the absolute smash number 1 waiver wire pick if he's out there in your leagues.
Yeah, it should be fine as long as he's not going against the Jags. Ravens backfield, the mess that it is. Latavius Murray, who's been absent, he was getting a 58% snap share because it's like, a 3, 4, 7-headed monster back there. Anyway, he had 13 rushes for 78 yards in the Ravens win against the Vikings. He also had 2 catches for 4 yards, but he did score a touchdown on one of those short passes. Also, we had a Le'Veon Bell sighting in that same backfield. 11 rushes, 48 yards. That's not a bad yard per carry clip. And he also had a touchdown. So that's interesting. Taysom Williams did not record a carry or a target in the Ravens' Week 9 win against the Vikings, putting up Jeff Wilson-esque numbers over there in the backfield for Baltimore.
He got 18 snaps. Let's not overreact. He didn't touch the ball, but he did get on the field. Let's not take away from him. Don't put him in Jeff Wilson shithead fucking territory. Oh my God. But yeah, it's nice to see this backfield become at least 2 heads instead of 3 heads. Oh, I guess when you add Lamar Jackson, he's the number 1 head of everything. But still, Freeman, as long as Latavius Murray's out, does have some real stream appeal. You'd have to be pretty desperate to go Le'Veon Bell, but he showed some juice in some of his runs, kind of looking shifty. I don't know. You could potentially use this guy as well if Murray's out and the matchup is right. I do like what I'm seeing out of Kenyon Drake these days. No less than 13.5 PPR points since the new head coach, the interim guy, took over. Part of that has been Josh Jacobs being in and out of the lineup with injuries, but man, he is just getting it done. 70 yards on 6 catches through the air, 30 more yards on the ground. That's 100 total. That is a season high in terms of total yardage. Didn't find the end zone, but still was eating. Josh Jacobs, meanwhile, did okay. 76 yards on 13 carries, 4 catches for 19 yards, but did leave the game with a noticeable limp at multiple points. If he misses time, Drake's that much of a better play, but he's seeing just around 40 to 50% of the snaps in these last few weeks. I think he's playable anyways in the right matchups. The Chiefs next week would qualify as one of the right matchups for sure.
Let's talk about the Patriots backfield. The Patriots moving the right way as a team, but this is a mighty ugly running back by committee situation, and I'm not sure one that I want any part of. Seems like a roulette wheel. Damian Harris, who had been leading the way, he rushed 15 times for 30 yards. That's pretty bad. And he did have a touchdown, but he also left with a head injury. In the wake of that, Brandon Bolden came in, rushed 8 times for 54. He had 2 catches for another 27. And then Ramondre Stevenson, a guy we've mentioned a bunch of times before, 10 rushes for 62 yards. And then he had a head injury. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Bolden might end up being the last man standing. If that's the case, then okay, we can fire him up. Otherwise, this is a tricky backfield. I mean, Harris has been so good because of scores, but we do know how fluky touchdowns can be. He did fall in the end zone, kind of save his day this last week, but this was his lowest running back share of the season, 45.5%. He has not seen anywhere close to a double-digit percentage of target share. He is scoring these touchdowns. He continues to fall in, but that is always a risky bet. I do think, especially, again, 16, 12, and 10 across the 3 running backs in terms of opportunities. That's a tough situation to ever want to have much stock in. But Bolden could be the last man standing coming up against the Cleveland Browns. So ultimately, he could be a very viable stream and another guy to look at on your waiver wire. Down goes Aaron Jones. This is not injury-wise. That's probably a terrifying thing to say for Otis. Just down fantasy stock-wise, though, given that A.J. Dillon's outperforming him in almost every facet. 8 carries for 46 yards, very solid per clip, looking solid for A.J. Dillon as compared to 12 rushes, so more carries, 53 yards for Aaron Jones, a little more rush yards. This is the big concern, though, for Aaron Jones is A.J. Dillon, who is not thought to be any type of special pass catcher. 4 catches for 44 yards, no targets for Aaron Jones. That is highly concerning. I don't know if that's a product of Aaron Rodgers versus Jordan Love, but either way, they're putting Dillon in these pass-catching situations, and he shined. That 21-yard catch, I mean, he was bowling over defenders, just looking potentially like the better back. And I'm always been a huge Aaron Jones guy. Dillon has shown a little bit more juice and certainly more power. It's becoming a near even split. And then just more so to say, we can't have Aaron Jones ranked in our top 10 right now moving forward. And A.J. Dillon also has to continue to get bumped up on these season-long big boards.
All right, man, we got a lot of running backs today. We got a big.
We don't usually do this. Yeah.
There's a lot of RBs. Yeah. Eagles running backs and Jordan Howard. I mean, they're going with also, let's speak of frustrating committee approaches. The Eagles are at the top of that group. I mean, basically, Jordan Howard got 17 carries plus targets. Boston Scott 10. Kenneth Gainwell 2. Not a lot of ground pie to go around, but Howard was the guy that was leading the way. Gainwell had 2 rushes for 3 yards. He did get a score. That's a serious vulture job right there. Boston Scott, 10 rushes for 40 yards. Jordan Howard, 17 times, 71 yards, and a score.
Yeah, and it seems like Jordan Howard is the guy moving forward. In fact, the report coming out today, they expect him to remain a key piece even when Sanders returns. You hope Sanders returns to this type of workload. Again, 66 carries out of the backfield these last 2 weeks, compared to 27 across the 2 weeks before that when they actually had Miles Sanders, their best player. Go figure. I don't understand Sirianni. But it's just like one of those things where, okay, it was Howard this week. They're saying he's going to be the guy moving forward. I don't know that I could ever trust anything coming out of this coaching staff's mouths. And last, we might have 1 or 2 more guys.
There's more.
Eli Mitchell, someone we certainly have to highlight. 1, Jeff Wilson's return. Again, 0 snaps, if it hasn't been clear yet on this show. Happy Jeff Wilson week, folks. Eli Mitchell did see 13 of the running back opportunities, 5 of them also going to Hasty. He didn't do a ton, 36 yards. But what was key here is he saw 5 catches for 43 yards. This is pretty insane because 1, he saw the most rushing share he's ever seen on the year, 89%, season high there. He's always been around that 80 to 85% range on the season, though. What was crazy to see a 12.8% target share. That is big. If he continues to get those type of receiving workload, in addition to the 80+% of carries he's seeing every week, he's going to go down the stretch as a monster. Granted, it was Wilson's first game back. I wonder if he works in a little bit more as he gets more practice time, but something to definitely monitor. If this continues for Eli Mitchell, he'll go down, other than Cordell Patterson, of course, as the waiver wire pickup of the year.
I picked both of them off waivers this year. I have them both. Darrell Williams, another guy picked up off waivers. He's the bell cow in Kansas City, evidently. Yeah, except I got destroyed this week. If you look at the carries versus targets split up for the whole Chiefs running back team, there's 30 of them. Williams got 23. That should tell you everything you need to know. 19 rushes, 70 yards, 3 catches, 7 yards on top of that. But compare that to the other guys. Derek Gore, 3 rushes for 13. Jerick McKinnon, no rushes, 3 catches for 26 yards.
Yeah, we'll move to the Dolphins here. Gaskin didn't have a huge stat line. It was usable. It got the job done, but it was the usage. 20 carries for 34 yards and then 6 catches for 23 yards. That was a season high in terms of everything. 83.3% running back share. His previous high had been 71% share. So that's a very stark improvement in addition to 6 targets. I believe that was the second highest total he's seen on the season. Very encouraging usage moving forward. The Ravens have given up the 8th most points. So Thursday night, a very viable play, Myles Gaskin.
Titans backfield, Adrian Peterson, 10 rushes, 21 yards. Not that impressive, but he did score. That is his 125th touchdown of his career, I believe. And they won against the Rams. Like we said, Jeremy McNichols had 7 rushes for 24 yards. So between the two of those guys, they rushed for 45 yards. Not that encouraging, except they came away with a win against a really good team. He also had 11 yards on 3 catches.
Yeah, it does seem like AP, they want him to be the focal point moving forward. They're using him wildcat, these unique type of formations. Didn't do much special against that stingy front for the Rams. Obviously, it just seems like it played out exactly how we thought. Carries are going to go more to Adrian Peterson. I thought maybe he was a little more involved as a ball carrier again with those 7. But the receiving work will go his way. Neither were overly impressive, but I do still think Adrian Peterson's the one you want moving forward. Finally,
give us a like to everybody as we go into wide receivers. Give us a like.
Please do consider giving us that like. It'd mean the world, a free way to support us. And thanks again, Mitch, for supporting us the financial way. Much appreciated indeed. Elijah Moore, the guy that I was hyping as a potential season winner from the start, is suddenly starting to look like it. He just needed Zach Wilson to be gone. He's averaging, Eli Moore, when non-Zach Wilson starts, 20.3 points per game. He averages 5 points per game when Zach Wilson's on the field. I hope that even when Wilson returns, he can realize how damn good this guy is. It makes me feel a little vindicated to see him perform as good as he has. He actually ranks 5th among all receivers in yards per route run across these last few weeks, but still only running about 0.5% route share. I imagine he's going to continue to see that number bumped up this week, going bananas for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Just looking unbelievable every time he sees the rock. I know Corey Davis wasn't in. I know Zach Wilson, who's killed him, wasn't in. So it was like the best case scenario. But when you see this type of work and these types of performances, you've got to imagine him clearly ascending past Keelan Cole, Denzel Mims, Braxton Berrios, who hasn't been able to shake. I imagine all of this continues to improve for Eli Moore. He'll be a priority on waiver wires this week.
Hunter Redfro, in the well-publicized absence of Henry Ruggs, which is going to be prolonged, obviously, was targeted 9 times, caught 7 balls, 49 yards, and a touchdown, and the Raiders lost to the Giants. That's another game that we didn't even mention that didn't go the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, I know, right? The Raiders were atop the division, and then they get toppled. Yeah, what a fucking insane, bloody Sunday.
And to add on to that, Brian Edwards, who I kind of was like, Brian Edwards could be a sneaky good play. No catches, targeted 4 times.
Yeah, so an intriguing way to look at the depth chart without Ruggs. Not that Ruggs, as we've talked about, only about 5 to 6 targets per game anyways. It wasn't like a huge seismic absence, but most of that work did go to Redfro, as well as Darren Waller we'll talk about when we get to tight ends. Let's talk about a couple of Ravens receivers. First, Marquis Brown, just reiterating, after 14 targets, his last game out, saw 12. He is just the engine of this passing attack and one of the most impressive, and I still think highly underrated. People don't seem to be talking about the fact this guy is top 5 at this point in wide receiver expected points, top 6 in terms of actual points, 9 catches, 116 yards, barely missed a touchdown as well. Looking damn good. 42 targets across his last 4, and he keeps getting labeled as a wide receiver 2. This guy's a bona fide fantasy wide receiver 1, even with Rashad Bateman, the other Ravens receiver I want to talk about, setting a season high in targets with 8, also setting a season high in snap share, 66%, and 82% route share. So when he was out there, he was essentially always running a route. He went for 5 and 52, just barely missed a couple long bomb touchdowns, though. Loved how he was targeted in all different facets and all different layers of the field. I think he is this close to a huge breakout, and at only 35% rostered, that number needs to get a big uptick.
Falcons wide receivers, and I'm going to include Kyle Pitts in this too. So we'll say Falcons pass catchers.
Yeah.
Matty Ice spreading the ball around. Kyle Pitts targeted 7 times, only caught 3, but he got 62 yards. And you see like how they're going to use this guy at some point. You can see why the hype was what it was. He's a very dangerous pass catcher. There's no doubt about it. Not to be outdone, however, Olamide Zacchaeus. That's Zacchaeus. 3 out of 3 targets, 58 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If you started him in your daily fantasy, you're licking your chops right now. This is all with Calvin Ridley out, of course, which is opening the door for a lot of unlikely guys. Russell Gage, 7 catches on 8 targets, 64 yards. Not a bad stat line for him. And let's not forget Tajay Sharp, a guy like 3 years ago that we thought was going to be really good for the Titans and wasn't. He did catch a 12-yard pass. So that's something, I guess, in the Falcons' Week 9 win against the heavily favored Saints. Another game that we got wrong.
After 0 points, I think Gage is by far the most intriguing one out of there, 26.7%. And by most intriguing, I mean the most intriguing storyline. Of course, Kyle Pitts is the number one guy you want moving forward. Routinely roasted Lattimore and just barely missed a long touchdown. Could have had a huge day had he caught that one, but still an encouraging performance to see him do that much damage against one of the better corners in the league. The guy I am routinely lower on each and every week. I get plenty wrong. Clearly, again, Jeff Wilson. But DJ Moore, I couldn't be more right to be lower on this guy. 3 catches, 32 yards, 7 targets. And yeah, it's much less about him than it is Sam Darnold. But he's attached to his quarterback. He's going to go as far as his quarterback goes. Weeks 1 through 4, 22.4 PPR points per game for DJ Moore, looking like the breakout star of the mid-rounds. Weeks 5 through 9, 10.1 PPR points per game. I think he needs to be on benches. I mean, I guess it's tricky. He'll probably be a top 30 guy each and every week in the rankings. But if you have better options, the fact that Darnold has not had a QB1 performance in 5 straight games, he has 2 passing TDs and 8 interceptions across his 5 last game. He looks every bit as bad as he looked with the Jets. For a while, it was like the Jets are the clear problem. Darnold's escaped. He's free from Gase. No, Darnold fucking sucks. He's bad.
Jalen Waddle, 8 catches on 10 targets for 83 yards in Miami's win against Houston. Now, granted, it's Houston, but there's a lot to be liking about Waddle this year. And, if you look at his stat line, going back the last 4 games, he's played at least 84% of the offensive snaps in every one of those games. You don't want anything. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for. As far as you want your guy on the field, you want your guy running routes. Waddle is, when he's getting targeted, he's catching the ball. I think that's something to be encouraged by.
Absolutely. Looking at the Browns post-Beckham, Donovan Peoples-Jones taking over that deep ball role, and he has always had better chemistry with Baker Mayfield. Hauls in a nice 60-yard touchdown as well as another 26-yard gain. Only 2 targets, but 86 yards and a score. Not too bad to have that damage. Sucked to see Jarvis Landry did lead in target share with 5 targets, but that just goes to show you when they're leading, there's really just very low volume to this aerial pie. 3 catches for 11 yards. Oh, absolutely hideous. Again, great to see this guy just routinely lead the team in target share, 25%, 32%, and 26% these last few weeks. He ran 83% of the routes, but that is a very discouraging floor. I guess it says in his blurb, high floor wide receiver 2 or 3 without Beckham. I don't think it's high floor at all. When they get the right game script, nobody's going to do damage unless it's Donovan Peoples-Jones getting deep down the field. So scary reminder of actually how low his floor truly is when it seems like it should be significantly higher.
Devontae Smith targeted 6 times, caught 5 of them, 116 yards and a score. And Phillies lost to the Chargers. That game could have gone either way. Smith clearly the alpha dog there.
Absolutely. And against the Chargers, giving up the second fewest to wide receivers, this was a beautiful game. He was running wide open routinely against a very good secondary, 37.5% target share this last week. Very solid to see. Not solid to see in the target share, 4 targets for Jacoby Myers. He was like the empty calorie type of guy. At least he's seeing 10 times looks a week. 4. 1 catch going for 8 yards. He's cuttable. The only reason he's on this list is because he's cuttable at this point. There's no ceiling because he still hasn't, if he didn't miss this one, a touchdown in his NFL career, NFL record for yards before a touchdown at this point. No floor, no ceiling. He doesn't need to be on rosters anymore.
Van Jefferson, we talked about how bad the Rams passing game was. He only had 3 catches for 41 yards, but I watched that whole game, and the thing that struck me was that he seemed to be on the field pretty much every play. And the numbers actually did bear that out. It was over 90% of the time. So he's out there as much as Woods, as much as Kupp. I think that's going to pay dividends at some point.
Oh, yeah. This was as bad of a game as we'll see from the Rams all season. As that locked-in wide receiver 3, he's going to have some huge games because Deshaun Jackson is now gone without Ruggs, who was seeing 17-plus yards average depth of target, over 30 targets on those. I think Jackson's going to walk right into a nice deep threat role. Derek Carr has been willing to sling that thing down the field, so he could be an intriguing pickup as early as this week. And also Brandon Ayuk in terms of deep threats. 6 of 8 targets going for 89 yards and a score. We talked about him as a riser last week because the snaps were a season high 98%. We saw those like underlying usage factors, but then this week it actually came to fruition with a monster type of game, at least according to this season's standards. And I thought what was most intriguing, again, 93% snaps, 94% routes, and a 20% target share, all very encouraging. But the fact that he fumbled it early and didn't go immediately into the doghouse by Kyle Shanahan, I was like, good Lord, this is the last we're going to see of Brandon Ayuk this season. That fumble, this costly mistake. They actually put him right back out there and continue to dial him up. That was pretty damn encouraging to see. He actually has a little leash on this rope now moving forward.
Jerry Judy caught 6 balls for 69 yards. That was on 8 targets. Not a huge stat line, although his team did completely mess up the Cowboys. So maybe they were playing a little more conservatively at the end. He's been targeted 25% of the time he's run a pass route this year, which is a pretty high clip, actually. And the other side of the coin there, you'd have to look at Courtland Sutton. He was targeted twice. He caught 1 ball for 9 yards. I do think maybe he caught a 2-point conversion in there, but whatever. Tim Patrick also, and I know this because I went against Tim Patrick, of course. Would have been nice to go against Courtland Sutton. But anyway, Patrick, 4 catches on 5 targets, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Like we said, the Broncos looked impressive. Don't know how real that is. I'm skeptical, but hey, you can't argue with what happened.
Yeah, certainly Judy, the story of that one. I mean, Tim Patrick has now led the team in receiving back-to-back weeks for yardage. He seems just to always get it done. He's almost like better when he's the wide receiver 3, getting the third attention, and Bridgewater's loving him. Quarterbacks loved him last year. I think he's one of the more underrated guys in the NFL, to be honest. But Judy, 32% target share. Cortland Sutton has not seen anything that high since week 2. So just as another emphasis, Sutton is a huge faller this week with being clearly behind these other 2 guys, it seems, at this point. I want to know, you have this guy in your league. I have him in my Holy Cross league. That league is just, I've never been worse in my entire life than what I'm putting out this year. 2 of 5 targets. Just, again, another 5 or below target share. 58 yards. He kind of salvaged his day a little bit with a 49-yard catch, but otherwise was pretty much invisible this entire week. It seems like a far cry since those early few weeks where it's like the Malik Thomas X role. He's an alpha. I was fully bought in. I was loving it. 30-plus points in like multiple contests. It's hard to sit the guy because of that upside, but this is starting to get concerning. Is it not, Truth? Where's your panic meter?
My panic meter is certainly like above 6, I would say, maybe 7. I don't know. I mean, the fact is, he was the wide receiver 2 for a long time. And when my receivers are all healthy, I think I'm going to bench him. Like his floor is it's not like the Cordero Patterson, like 15-point floor. Like his floor is like 4 or something like that. And I can't deal with it.
Exactly. I know for a while people were debating which one would you rather have, Williams or Keenan Allen.
I said we'd rather have Williams.
Keenan Allen at this point is by far the obvious answer with 13 targets, 12 catches, 104. He's seen like 10 or more in pretty much every game, I think, but one. 34.2% target share this last week. The clear-cut guy to have moving forward for the Chargers. Williams remains kind of, as you said, like you'd have to have very good receivers to bench him. But I have a league where I have like McLaurin, Cooper Kupp, and Deebo Samuel. I won't be seeing Williams in my starting lineup anytime soon with that type of core.
Right. Let me ask you this real quick in a vacuum. Who do you like more, T. Higgins or Williams?
Higgins is going to get like 12 targets a week. It's so hard to bench Williams for Higgins, but like he's at least seeing the work, and he looked damn good this week too. So
he did. And on top of that, I have Cooper Kupp and I have AB. And I got really good running backs for flex. I think Williams is probably going to be seeing the bench next week. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay, Giants wide receivers. Kadarius Toney, a guy you've been really high on, 1 target, 9 yards. But he caught his only 1 target, so 100% catch rate. That's good. Ooh. Kenny Galladay caught both his targets. These guys are catching 100% of the balls thrown their way. 2 of them for 28 yards. Daniel Jones completing 15 to 20 for a cool 110 yards and a touchdown in their win against the Raiders.
I know. That's the craziest part is how bad this aerial pie is, yet they still won. I don't know what else to say about that. You see 11% target share for Galladay, 5% target share for Toney, to sacrifice for Kyle Rudolph, 30% target share. you got to throw it to Kyle Rudolph instead of your electrifying rookie, your huge big money free agent acquisition receiver. No, let's make sure we pepper Kyle fucking Rudolph. Oh, God.
We're up to 75 questions, by the way.
I know. Yeah, we'll make sure. I think we only have a few more players to cover here. Wide receivers, just a couple left. Cole Beasley is Joe Bashulia, again, our guy from The Athletic over there, speculating that he's the de facto running back, given that he just gets dump and dink. He had 8 catches this week for 33 yards. Nothing huge, but PPR leagues, damn, that's not bad. 11 targets this week, 12 the week before. He's now up to 40 targets across 3 games. I mean, he's getting it done in terms of just dinking and dunking down the field. They don't have a running back presence. He is the guy.
Michael Gallup is supposed to play for the first time in a long time in week 10 against the Falcons. He's been out since week 1. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, and weirdly, their third receiver is Malik Turner. Last week, 2 touchdowns. Cedric Wilson, a touchdown the week before. They seem to be getting juicy matchups, and they're exploiting it. So maybe out there in a ton of leagues, take a good gander at Michael Gallup, one of the better talents in the league. Now we'll move on to tight end, which is always much faster. We'll get to all your questions in a sec. We'll pack 75 of them. Love to see that. Great interaction. Can't wait to answer them all. But of course, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up to help us continue to grow Wolfpack before we can get to your questions, that would be so appreciated. Probably the biggest single riser of the week across all positions, for me at least, George Kittle. 6 catches, 101 yards, 1 TD. He was supposed to play about half the snaps with the report Adam Schefter had coming out before the game. He ultimately played 73%, 67% route rate, and 8 targets, a 20% target share. Beautiful game from him, and it was more so just the nature of the targets, deep down the field, contested catches, end zone looks that he doesn't normally see. Love to see it. There's clearly no lingering concerns about his health, and you just snap him right back into your top 4, maybe top 3 tight ends rest of the season, and you don't look back.
Speaking of guys that might belong in that conversation, Darren Waller, 7 catches on 11 targets. We were waiting for this target share to come back up. 92 yards, and the Raiders lost to the Giants, of course. 7 catches for 92 in PPR for a tight end. It's a great game.
Absolutely, especially since he hadn't seen 65 yards since week 1. Beautiful reminder that this guy was, and we talked about it, the ultimate buy low these last couple of weeks. Ruggs' absence, maybe that played a role. I think it's just that Darren Waller is so damn good, and at least they finally woke up to it. Not that good is Jared Cook, former Raider right there. 48 yards, 4 targets. Not actually that bad of a tight end.
I just want to say that he had a better game than Mike Williams.
Sure did. What's concerning, though, is the fact that Donald Parham had 3 catches, 39 yards, and a TD. Steven Anderson.
He also had a better game than Mike Williams.
Also did. And so did Steven Anderson. Whoever the fuck that is, caught a touchdown as well. So ultimately, it just sucks for Cook. He saw decent work, had some decent catches, but this is just a monstrous 3-headed, gross nibble and cheese situation that I don't think any of us really need a piece of.
Dallas Goedert, 3 catches on 6 targets for 43 yards. I mean, that's not a great stat line, although Hurts did miss him wide open downfield on what had been a long gain, maybe even a touchdown. He still had a 37.5% target share, which was tied with Devontae Smith. So
don't be
overly discouraged by the stat line. I mean, you can be disappointed, but it's there. It's like we talk about fantasy points and expected fantasy points. The guy probably should have gotten more than he did.
100%, an 11% target share before Ertz got traded. He's now up to 33% target share since Ertz has been traded. Just a monster in terms of that usage. He had 70-plus yards in 2 of the first 3 games without Ertz. Should have had it, as you said, before that misconnection. So, yeah, very encouraging. Also getting encouragingly used, can't believe it, Dan Arnold has now led the Jaguars in back-to-back games in receiving. 4 catches on 7 targets, 60 yards. He had 10 targets just a week ago when he also led them in receiving yards. He's a low-end tight end 1 at this point. It's gross. It's hideous. But you can look for this guy on your waiver wire. If
Big game, Dan Arnold. And last but not least, Tyler Conklin. He was a big waiver ad last week. He did deliver as a plug-and-play guy. 5 catches on 7 targets, 45 yards. Not too bad for a tight end.
Yeah, exactly. Again, for a tight end, not bad, especially when you consider it's 21 and 25% target shares, these back-to-back games with 7 targets. Pretty solid usage, and he just barely missed a touchdown this week, which would have made him a smash play. I think he's definitely in your streaming radar against a Chargers team that, other than Baltimore was the best matchup that he just had this last week, second best matchup for tight ends coming up. So just a streaming guy for you on your radar. Alrighty, folks, nearly 80 questions already on a Monday. That's the type of shit we love to see, baby. So I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I just said this is going to be tight. Like we're gonna have to really make our money here and go fast. All right, you ready to go? Tunes, hey, Truth, do you think you'll break 40 points in Dynasty this week? I don't know. I haven't checked. Maybe not.
Punting for that one overall pick next year, it seems.
Oh God, I'm absolutely giving my team away. Daniel Hallen, Wolf, loved when you told me to bench Boyd, hated when you told me to start Tyrod Taylor. Great show as always, guys. Love watching. Give him a thumbs up, everyone. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I fucking hate Tyler Boyd. I'm glad that worked out, but Tyrod Taylor, and that's because this motherfucker 909 orbits. The curse continues. Every quarterback you stream has been a bag of shit. Other than that 1 week, Tua wasn't. I blame you, 909. I love you to death because you're the man and you come every week. But it's uncanny. Remind us, 909, what are the quarterbacks you started and like how many points did they put up all year? Because it's actually like insane how bad that has been for you.
Grind don't stop. I'm most likely to be playing against Connor this week. I'm nervous to only have Alvin Kamara with potential to outscore him full PPR. What's the chances of Connor busting this week? LOL. I can't imagine.
I don't know. Certainly without Edmonds, his ceiling is that much higher. There is, as I said, though, the injury risk is like the one way he'll probably bust is if he got hurt early in this game. I don't know who they're facing this week. I don't know what the matchup is. There is always like, if Kyler Murray's out there, he could end up getting 3 rushing touchdowns and Connor doesn't get anything. But damn, he's been so good at the stripe. I don't expect that. You're probably facing 2 touchdowns or so.
Ryan says Devontae Freeman is that dude in the Ravens backfield.
Yeah, I think he might be that dude. Like, it seems like he is. He's certainly playing quite well. He has been killing it. Indeed, grind don't stop.
Okie says, Wolf, no, I feel you on the Jeff Wilson struggle. I'm still shook from starting Gainwell last week, and I lost because I got cute with that shit. It's nice that you're sympathizing with the Wolf. That's not as bad as the Wilson.
Nothing worse than getting fucking cute. But I think Gainwell, facing Detroit coming off a touchdown game, like, you had a good narrative. I had no real reason other than my gut was like, they love Wilson. He won me a title last year. I was just being kind of loyal to my players who have gotten it done for me before. He didn't get it done for me this last week, and it really, really killed me.
Ryan says, some idiot in our keeper league that is leaving gave Henry to the Javonte Williams and Dalvin Cook owner. I'm out. I will say, even though I haven't pulled my weight in our dynasty league, I very intentionally made no moves so nobody could accuse me of that.
Yeah, that's such horse shit to like. It's a seasonal league. All right, it's over in the year. That's just like going to screw people over for years and years to come. I'd be right out of that shit too. Screw that. That's awful.
Toon said, I'm pretty sure when I drafted Patterson in Dynasty, I got shit for it. I didn't predict this, but I said it's him or Davis. Someone has to score some points. As it turned out, great move, Toons. I picked him up for like $12 on waivers.
One of the best
in my league that I do care about.
I have him in all the leagues except the league I do care the most about because I dropped him for Christian Kirk. I've made some real shithead moves this year in that. I know.
Forrest Law. I'm still high on Gibson and DJ Moore. Free DJ and Gibson, but right now, think about it, Javonte Williams too.
Yeah, we need all these guys. They're all great talents that need to be freed. I'm nervous Gibson, the injury might linger. Maybe they'll rest him, after this bye week. Maybe he'll come back fully healthy. But DJ Moore, you can't feel good about with Sam Darnold there. I do think the Javonte Williams narrative is just a matter of usage. If it happens, if Gordon's gone by any injury, whatever happens, it's going to be a monstrous season.
Ryan says Jeff Wilson was a beast late last year. Maybe they're breaking him in with no carries. Maybe.
Gotta hope. I think I am going to hold on. I'm not going to just hate cut him right away. Just because like they did mention they want to give you a little more practice time. He was there kind of as an emergency situation, which I should have read into a little bit more in case Eli Mitchell's the ribs were lingering, anything of that nature. Clearly it wasn't lingering given the work that
Mitchell's not losing that job unless he gets hurt, man.
But he's a big injury risk, in my opinion.
Okay. Johnny Lau need a replacement for Mixon on the bye. Should I pick up Freeman, Jordan Howard, or Kenyon Drake? This is half PPR.
I kind of like Kenyon Drake. I think he has the most rest of season value. Plus, he gets the Chiefs this week. I don't know who Freeman or Jordan Howard have coming up this week. So, Johnny, you know when I do my the weekly show on Wednesdays in terms of my rankings, I can give you a much better, clearer answer once I know the matchups. But right now, I really do think Kenyon Drake has good season-long value in addition to a solid streaming potential next week.
Any expectations on D-Jack signing with Vegas?
He already did, right? I think he's already signed with the Raiders. It's official at this point. Are you just saying what do I think?
He's saying, what are we thinking? I don't think he's going to blow anybody away. I'm just
no,
he's going to score once or twice. I don't know.
He fills that role really well, but that role, even when it was like a younger and better Ruggs, it was hit or miss every other week. I don't think you're going to get any consistent value there.
My Raiders are effed up. It makes me sad. Sorry, Forrest.
Yeah.
Josh says, what's up, my guys? Good to see you, Josh. 15 from the pit D and Najee. Am I in good shape? Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah. I think just Najee alone could get you 15. I think the pit D alone
might give you 15. I need 41 from the pit D.
I need 19. Certainly not likely, but could it happen against Justin Fields? It could. We'll see. But I think you're in great shape, Josh.
Redfro, I'm so tired seeing Dave Matthews featured. It makes me feel like I should have tried harder when I was younger.
Is Dave Matthews banned? Like who? What?
I don't know.
I don't even know what
Forrest has been out of shape about it. Josh said, would you trade away Aaron Jones for someone? For someone? Sure.
Yeah, it depends on who, but I do think there's a lot of name value, and the real world value isn't that great on field right now, given the type of workload split they have. Forrest Law's going on some sort of rant here, so I'll let him kind of have his cathartic moment, but I don't know what exactly he's going for. So let's get to another comment. But first,
all right, FCJR, I traded Connor for Thielen a few weeks ago. Felt good then. Yeah, I would have said you had a steal. I went against Connor and Thielen, and it was one of those things. The very end of the game, I was facing Cousins and Thielen, and there was like 12 seconds left or something, and Thielen had done nothing. I was like, I'm fine as long as Cousins doesn't hit Thielen for a touchdown, sending it to overtime, and then I have to play against these guys for the rest of the game, and that's literally exactly what happened. Anyway.
Yep, that sure sucks. But FCJR, if you're feeling bad about that move, just remember I cut James Conner for Jeff Wilson. So if you think you got the bad end of a James Conner deal, just know you're in far worse company than yourself. So yeah, pretty horrible. Barring injury, you do feel good. I don't know exactly who he's referring to. Elijah Moore, we talked about as a potential monster. Here we go. Grind on.
Let's talk Rashad Bateman. Is this week the week he explodes on Thursday? He's getting the targets. I'm leaning towards playing him in a full flex PPR. What do you think, Wolf?
I'm probably going to be starting him this week. I mean, he delivered 10 points in PPR leagues this last week, a little bit more than that, if I'm not mistaken. I think this could be the week. Miami, a great matchup for him. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for this guy to blow up on Thursday. I'm feeling it. Grind, don't stop. Let's get it.
Hey, Wolf and Truth, let's keep the analysis coming for the pack. We're trying, man.
Hey, baby. Love it.
Mike Clay spent $68 on Mitchell. Well worth it. Shanahan's guy. I spent $48 on him. It was the first week, remember, like when he busted out. My philosophy is get your guy. Take whatever you need to get him. You're going to get a chance to get 3 guys, maybe 4 throughout the year. I also spent big on him, and I have no regrets. So good job.
Yeah, I think he was absolutely worth every penny. Even if you emptied your entire wallet, he was worth it for anybody who did that. I'm not sure exactly what Ryan's is. I kind of previewed this comment. It seems like just a lot going on. He dropped E. Sanders. I probably, at this point, would have much rather have dropped Tony. But hey, E. Sanders isn't all that like must hold if that's your roster with those receivers. I mean, damn, that's insane. You probably should be trading wide receiver 1 to get a running back if you can. Tony
was a huge disappointment this week. I didn't start him. I actually started Scott over, and it secured me a win. Thank God. Good decision.
Ooh, good decision. And it wasn't like Scott killed you. I mean, he only had 40 yards, but
no, he was better than Tony.
That sure was.
More because of production in a rookie keeper league.
Ooh, rookie keeper, you probably could have held on to him there, Ryan. That's tricky. I dropped him in my seasonal leagues, and I'm starting to kick myself for it. But rookie keeper, you could have had him the rest of his career.
Tony was a huge disappointment. I won't drop him. I'll just wait until he's fully healthy, see how he looks after the bye week. But I'm all in on Bateman. All right,
there you go. I'm all in on Bateman too. I really think he could tear it up.
Love to fire up Tony. I can't trust him. I hear you.
Exactly. I wish we could trust him. I think as a talent, get 189 yards, most rookie receiving yards, beat Odell's record this year after scoring multiple touchdowns. The guy looks great every time he's used. So let's feature Kyle Rudolph instead of him. I wish you could trust logical coaching. We sure can't, Ryan, and that's too bad.
For a Ravens wide receiver, Wes says, I never thought I'd see the day. It feels good. It feels real good.
Yeah. I mean, Marquis Brown, again, top 10 rest of the season for me. But then also Rashad Bateman, a solid. It's crazy not just one Ravens receiver is on this list, potentially 2 in addition to Mark Andrews. That's just how good Lamar Jackson's been as a passer and how bad that defense has been.
Give us a like as we're trying to dance through like 80 comments in like 10 minutes, by the way. Kelvion, would you trade Davante Adams for Dalvin, Terry, and Marvin Jones? I would. Yeah,
for all those guys. I mean, Dalvin Cook's a monster. Terry's a great wide receiver too. Like Marvin Jones, I don't give a shit about. He could get cut, and that doesn't matter. For Terry and Dalvin,
he's maybe playable though. I mean, Marvin Jones there's a lot of guys worse.
I don't know about that.
Oh man, some of the guys people are talking about, hey, should I start this guy? And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, they'd kill it for Marvin.
I mean, I played Jeff Wilson, so yeah. Right.
What are you talking about, man? I also have Jerry Judy. He's getting better and better. Hopefully this week he scores a TV. It does seem like he's on the cusp.
Yep, we just talked 25% target share on any time he's running around. That's pretty damn good.
Darrell Williams been solid replacing Clyde. Any concerns about his role changing whenever he returns? I have gone on record as saying that I think Williams is better than Clyde, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Williams keep the job. But concerns? Yeah, I have concerns.
Yeah, you got to be concerned. It's their your first round pick that year. You got to imagine they're going to try to make this work with him. But Darrell Williams has been better. There's no two cents about it. It's just crazy to think they took freaking Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor in that draft.
Sure. Right. It's one thing when it's like you draft a running back and you shouldn't draft high on running backs. It's another thing when you pick a running back over another running back that ends up being great.
Exactly. Grind don't stop. My top running back ads, waiver wire show tomorrow. I'm not just trying to like drag you out to another show. Of course, I'd love to see you there. You're usually there anyways, Grind. I don't know. Honestly, I always prepare for a show at a time. So I'll have a much better answer tomorrow. My guess off the top of my head, Jordan Howard will be towards the top of that list based on some of the guys we talked about tonight. But man, yeah, Devin Singletary is probably the number one guy of all positions, never mind running backs, if he's out there given this matchup with the Jets and Zach Moss and concussion protocol.
All right, seems like we probably don't have time to do this one now, Wolf. I don't know what you think, but it looks like he's talking about his 10-man PPR. What do you think? He's talking about trade suggestions.
Yeah, it's just too general. I mean, cool to send us your roster, but again, you need to know like what you're exactly looking for, who your opponents have. Trades are just so tough to do in a short time.
You do seem like you have a good team, though.
It does seem solid, yeah.
Grind don't stop.
That you lost Derrick Henry and you have that type of roster, you know?
Right. But, direct messages. Grind don't stop. I started Emmanuel Sanders for the past 2 weeks. Should I keep him in my lineup for this week, full PPR? All depends on your options, but, if you were a little gun shy, I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, I think that he's been solid. He has that one goose egg. Even this last week, 60 yards on 5 catches or so. Like, not horrible. He's got a good floor, great ceiling. I think the Bills will have a big rebound week this week.
Mike Clay says, Mike Williams was matched against Big Play Slay. That's a good point. He's been locking everybody down all year. I like a bounce-back game against Minnesota this week. Shootout on deck. Okay, Mike, I'm listening. Maybe I'll play him.
Maybe. Maybe. Slay actually has been better than I'm giving him credit for. So, yeah.
Maybe. I know. You're being a little dismissive of Slay.
Yeah.
Ryan says, Mike Williams, Aaron Jones, Justin Herbert. Gross. No clue what they offer week to week. All are out of top 10s at their respective positions. I do agree with that. Well, I'd have to look at the list. I know Williams is. Jones flirting with it. I'd have to see the guys around Herbert, but you're not talking crazy, Ryan.
No, a lot of guys that are regularly viewed as number one clear options at their positions just haven't had that consistency of clear number ones. It's damn sure. I think just they're so talented that they keep getting these passes, and maybe they don't deserve them anymore.
Thinking about dropping Scott for Howard. What do you think?
Seems like Howard's the better guy, but if I told you I had a clear role, view of this backfield, every week it's somebody new. It's Gainwell, then it was Scott, and now it's Howard. It's probably going to be someone that's not even on the roster right now this week. Who knows?
All right, this looks like a little too much of a roster analysis one. What do you think, Wolf?
Any moves you think? I just hate anytime anyone's asked any moves you think I should make. I can't do it.
Here's what you should do. You should You should pick up Cooper Kupp.
Figure out, yeah, exactly. Figure out a couple moves that you're considering making, and then send them to me, and then I can give you an analysis. Yeah. I'm not gonna give you a whole. This is your team. This is what you. No, tell me what you're considering doing, and I'll tell you what I think.
Well, yeah. Ben, what's up, gentlemen? I'm further away from a victory tonight than Jordan Love's mother and girlfriend seats were away from the field.
I do love that they put him in the nosebleed
that's
as
pretty
possible. Good. That's a great comment. Ben always comes in with some fire.
Thanks, Ben. Lightening the mood. Great show from Forrest. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Forrest. I feel like you haven't been here in a while. I love seeing you. I'm glad you're back, Forrest.
Ryan says, Wolf, grab a hazy IPA and cuss everything out for week 9. Right.
Seems about right. I chugged a few on the Sunday show. Let's get after it on Thursday. I have had so much grading this week. I'm going to, by the time Thursday rolls around.
You want to get it just really hammered?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll tell my wife beforehand. I'll tell her on Tuesday. I'll just be like, I'm just warning you.
You're going to be
by 7 on Thursday, I'm going to be 4 beers in. She'll love that.
Love it. I'm sure she's going to love that.
Yeah. Forrest Law. Wolf is the Jerry Garcia Fantasy Football Podcast. Guess that means he's on heroin.
Only good vibes. No,
Forrest says only good vibes.
Yeah.
I wonder what I am. I wonder what addled drug addict I am.
Yeah, right. Only good vibes, though. I mean, you should have seen me yesterday when Jeff Wilson didn't touch the field. I wouldn't call that only good vibes.
Yeah, he sends some pretty livid texts.
I'm glad you caught my good vibes because I certainly have plenty of evil vibes in fantasy every now and again. But I'm glad that Forrest catches the good ones.
He's talking about Orbit's Fitz less than a point.
Yeah.
Instant 10. Yeah, and he lost by 4 points. Yeah,
look, those are his streamers. Yeah, 0.72, 10, 3.92, 13. 12, one good game, 36. 21 wasn't bad, but Taylor, yeah. 4-point loss. Just brutal. Just fucking horrible.
They're asking which running back we should target. I don't think we can hit that right now, Wolf.
Edmonds. I mean, yeah, you're moving Diggs, Keenan, Lamb. Like, you're looking at just check out Jackson's trade value chart. That's the best advice I can give. One of the best trade value charts out there.
That's true.
Our guy Jackson kills it. He's one of the brightest fantasy analysts out there. I subscribe to his. I'll have my rest of season big board. You can kind of see what guys are in their range. That'll be updated tonight. Combine that with the trade value chart, and we'll give you a great answer.
Juan's calling us out. Dude, you guys are sleeping on James Conner. Y'all don't talk about him enough, dude. Should be starting over anybody you put over him in the flex. Juan, you're not wrong.
Oh, we talked about him at length today.
We talked about him a lot. Neither one of us reflexively likes him, but I can't argue with the numbers. Again, I faced him, and he smashed my head in. So you're not wrong, Juan.
Just completely battered us all. I know. No, totally. We're not a James Conner like fan site at all. I cut him in week 2. Again, I want to keep like just jump out the window every time I think about that. But yeah, especially now with Edmonds hurt, Juan, he is probably a top 5 running back each and every week moving forward.
I have history with him that makes me hate him more rationally than I should.
Yeah. And I guess, you know what's going to happen, Truth, is now that everyone's on his dick, he's going to get hurt this week. Like it's almost, that's how it works. Now that everybody's back on the Conner bandwagon, he can't carry that weight. He's going to get hurt. Just wait and see, people. But I will say, though, just as a player, he looked really, really good.
Like, he was fast, and I mean, look at his production. We can't argue with it. I can't.
When I saw him running after the catch, I was like, this is not a James Conner I've seen in a long time. He hadn't looked like that all year, and he was just dazzling this last week. It was beautiful to see. He looked really fucking good.
What's Alex Collins' value rest of the season, full PPR?
I cut him in a couple leagues, to be honest. I don't,
probably not much.
If Carson doesn't come back and now he's the main guy with Russell Wilson, damn, okay, that could be solid. But otherwise, I mean, they're still forcing a committee with fucking crap ass. What's his name? Rashad Penny saw like 7 carries. He had 40 yards as the lead back against the Jags, which I guess they stopped the Bears, whoever the Bills this week. But still, no, I'm not into. I don't think Alex Collins is a must hold if you need the PPR spot.
Juan says, will Freiermuth have a better game than Kittle? Why does Shanahan still have limited snaps? Then he goes for a $103 and a touchdown, shaking my head.
Yeah. No.
It's almost like you can't trust Shanahan.
I know. Yeah. Who would have ever thought Shanahan would lie to us? Yeah. No, I know. Kittle was clearly the best play this week.
He looked good.
Tight ends.
He looked good.
No, Freiermuth's not going to outplay him. He could find the end zone, but no, he won't outplay him.
Danny says, I need -3 from Najee. If that happens, I won't drink this Sunday, Lord. You should say like several Sundays in a row, Denny, and I'm holding you to it if it happens.
Yeah, there's no way that happens. Sorry, Denny.
Drew says, hey, not sure if you went through my defense question, but I missed it. Any defense I should stash for the playoffs? I have New Orleans and Tampa Bay. I feel like dropping New Orleans. I know we usually do a strength of schedule down the stretch thing. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head.
No, that will be right around the trade deadline. I don't know off the top of my head, and that's not something I'm going to research quite yet, Joe. But definitely we'll have that. I think the trade deadline is not this week, but the week after. So we will have a big special on who to look for if you're in, playoff bound mode, all that good stuff. But as of right now, I don't know. And honestly, stashing 2 defenses just to have a good one for the playoffs, that doesn't usually pan out because even the best defenses and the best matchups, it doesn't always work out that way that perfectly. So I don't think you should be that worried about stashing a great defense right now.
Juan said, drop Tony, maybe.
Honestly, you probably could, depending on what your waiver wire situation looks like, what you need. He doesn't seem like a must-hold, not because he's not good, but because his play caller, Jason Garrett, is one of the dumbest human beings that is still employed in the NFL.
What should I do with Dawson Knox since I have Kittle? Do I still trade Kittle?
Oh, man.
Maybe you trade Knox.
Maybe you trade Knox now. Yeah, I mean, if after this huge game from Kittle, you could get immense value for him, then go for it because I do think Knox is going to walk back into a solid role. But I certainly, rest of the season, who would I rather have? I'd rather have Kittle. It's just a matter of what type of trade can you get for one or the other. If it's in a complete vacuum and it's the same value, then, of course, get rid of Knox before Kittle. It
is right around kickoff time. So you want to go rapid fire, Wolf?
All righty. Traded Edmonds, Terry, and Gronk for Adams. Thoughts? Especially now that Edmonds is hurt. I think you just absolutely destroyed him. Juan Pena, should I start Kenyon Drake? I think you absolutely could. Depends on who your other options are. Try to trade Amari Cooper. I don't know. Maybe depends what your offers are. Like those are the type of questions I can't deal with. I don't know. Maybe if you got a good offer, sure. Got a trade offer. Trade Pittman for David Montgomery and Jerry Judy. I love Pittman, but man, I think I'd smash that. They've already said they think David Montgomery will be right back into the feature back role if and when he's ready. He'll probably won't be that this early this week, but I think moving forward, yes. And I don't think Jerry Judy and Pittman are all that far off in value. And I think Montgomery as a potential workhorse, I would take that deal for sure. Rondale Moore, what's his ceiling? I mean, he'll have a couple blow-up games maybe rest of the year, but I don't think it's that high. Like this was as close to a game as he should have a ceiling with both AJ Green and Hopkins out. And he still didn't do all that much. I think he's cuttable for sure. I thought he's cuttable for a while. I was offered Tony Pollard for Christian Kirk. I'm rebuilding mode, 14 team half PPR. I don't know when Pollard's contract is up, but I think if you're in rebuilding mode, like long tail upside, I think Pollard has like the potential to vault up. Whereas we're seeing the highest Christian Kirk will ever be this year. I don't know that he'll ever beat what he's doing right now. I was offered Justin Jefferson for Josh Jacobs and Renfro. My other running backs are Eckler. I don't love Josh Jacobs, so I can't say yes to that. Mitch said question
Mitch
mark.
is not sure what's going on.
Oh, he gave us a super chat, and then I think we missed some questions early because we got 80 in the. Remember, he gave us that $5 super chat.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you exactly what he wanted to talk about.
Where did we miss that? Steelers.
Well, I saw it when it came up, but he wanted to know what we thought about Mahomes and was he going to read
we did miss a bunch of questions. I need Deontay. A lot of people like commenting earlier. Shit, we didn't. I don't know where these were earlier, but now they're all showing up again. So
hold on. E Powder, thanks for your hard work. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Let's talk about let's give Mitch his minute of airtime real quick.
Oh, absolutely. He deserves it. So thank you, E Powder. Much appreciated for that super chat. Let's chat with Mitch. Sorry we missed that. Fuck.
Yeah,
Mitch, our bad.
Bad form on our parts. We're sorry. Usually people don't support us that early in the show, but please don't be discouraged from doing it. We really appreciate it. Mitch says, do you guys see Mahomes continuing to collapse or get it back together for fantasy purposes? Wolf, I'll let you go first.
I really don't see him getting it together, and I don't know why. Like,
because he looks bad. He looks
bad, right? Like, routinely looks bad for 4 straight weeks. I don't know what it is, Mitch. You have probably a better finger on the pulse there in Kansas City. It just seems like defenses have this blueprint now. This is how you defend the Chiefs. This is how you take out Tyreek Hill, and they have nobody else to step up and help support it. So I don't think Mahomes looks good either. I think he's oversailing. There are moments where he's got guys running deep down the field. He's not hitting them. So he looks bad on his part. Plus, I think the fact that defenses really just have this offense figured out. I don't see him getting it. I don't think he can be much worse than he is right now, but I also don't see him getting back to those like cheat code numbers. Maybe he'll have a week or two mixed in there, but I'd say he's probably on my rest of season big board going to land in like my top, maybe just outside my top 10, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. It's so hard to rank Mahomes outside of top 10, but yeah, this is sketchy. What do you think, Truth?
It's one of those things, and you summed it up pretty well, but it's one of those things where let's say you've been trained your entire life to think something is a certain thing. And then, you see 5, 6, 7 examples of it not being that thing. And so what you're seeing with your own eyes is telling you, yeah, this guy isn't what you think he is anymore. But it is really, really hard to do that kind of mental U-turn to go against him. It's like, I agree with you. I think he's probably like the QB 9, QB 10, QB 11, maybe going forward. The Chiefs offense just looks ridiculous. And I mean, bad ridiculous, but it's so hard to make myself push the button and say, yeah, I'm going to bench this guy for, I don't know who, Jalen Hurts or something like that.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's tough. We did.
I'm interested to know what Mitch thinks, to be honest.
I know. Yeah. Mitch, send your take on in here, Mitch. I'd love to know what you think of it. Steelers are the sleeper team. That's actually not a horrible call. Like, I don't think Big Ben can sustain it, but the good running game and that defense, they could make some noise. The AFC is just so bad. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Steelers do a little damage.
Did you win the election, Ward?
He did. I asked him on Sunday. Yeah, our boy won.
Nice.
Pumped for our guy.
Nice. I hope he gets drunk with power and just changes the whole landscape of whatever community he's running.
Yeah, exactly. And he says the best fantasy show on the web. Thank you guys so much. Sorry again for those earlier comments we missed.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know. We got switched off. I don't know why we missed those. If we missed one that you really wanted an answer to, please re-ask it. It wasn't deliberate by any means, especially Mitch for supporting the site and then us to skip that over. Bad form, our fault. I think that all the comments, we forgot to click the refresh at the top and it wasn't showing them. And my bad. I'm in for some Thursday drinking. Hell yeah, says Denny. Sweet. Come on down to the party. I'll get after it Thursday with you. Thursday night football predictions. I mean, fantasy football bold prediction off the top of my head. Bateman's going to go crazy grind. I know that's what you want to hear. So I'm going to tell you 100 yards, TD. We're going to go big on Rashad Bateman. And of course, Marquis Brown.
Tell the people what they want.
Thoughts on I guess Tony. At this point, it's already kicked off. So if you have anything you want to chime in on any of these.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about Tony the rest of the season? I am quite scared of him.
Yeah, definitely. Don't think he's it's just, again, great talent, horrendous coaching situation. Carol said Carson will be on the field Wednesday. So again, once he's back, Alex Collins has nothing. Drop Collins for Djax. I don't know if Djax. I feel
like it's a lateral move. I really don't see either of them having much relevance.
I don't think much matter. I think Collins has the better path to mattering just because there is the chance. There's a lot of people speculating Carson will get shut down for the year. If that happens, then you get Russell Wilson's lead back. It could be decent. A-Rob has made a catch. So shocker.
First time for everything.
First time for everything. Likes Judy to blow up, slay on Sutton. I could see that. I could definitely see that for sure. 10 of 12 type of game like Keenan Allen.
Mitch says, do I trade him as I can for maybe Dak or Hurts, something of that sort? Honestly, I like both those guys probably going forward this year more. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Not Hurts. Hurts could just get benched from Minshew.
Well, okay. Here's the thing with Hurts. He could actually lose his job, potentially. Right. And so not Hurts, but Dak, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He really could. I think Dak for sure. I like Dak. I know this was a bad week for Dak, and he still ended up putting up like 20 by the end.
Mike says, Chiefs result back to the mean. Positive regression coming, in my opinion. Mahomes' brother may have mushed him, though.
I hate Jackson Mahomes. I think he is one of the worst human beings. Like,
what is going on with that guy?
I don't know. But yeah, I think he's really like somehow between the marriage, between his brother, like everything off the field, I think has just negatively impacted Mahomes in a horrible way. Maybe the money went to his head. I don't know. But it's not Mahomes. It's not the Mahomes where you would just step out there 350.
I mean, he doesn't seem like he's like developed a drug problem or anything like that.
No. So it's just this isn't his year. Clearly, I don't think right. Mike Clay thinks it's going to happen. I don't know. I'm not confident in Mahomes getting it together.
We'll see. Mitch Chavez says, honestly, I've never seen a collapse like this, and knowing and seeing it a few weeks in a row now is killing me. I'm honestly at a loss for it. Yeah, I don't know what to say, Mitch. And if I were a big Chiefs fan, I would be like ramming my head into the wall, which possibly is what you're doing right now.
Exactly.
Touchdown Najee. Go enjoy some football, gents. Thanks for the show.
I think that's what we got.
Ben, you made us laugh at least once with your comments. So thank you.
We really appreciate it, man. Yeah, Denny Jennings knows.
Denny, he could fumble like 6 times.
Yeah, 6 fumbles coming. You're not drinking Sunday, Denny. You're drinking Thursday with us. You're drinking both days.
For how he's been over the last 3 years, it seems to be more mental right now than anything. Everything with Mahomes seems out of sync. Honestly, I agree.
Exactly. It really does. Kyle Pitts, he's the man. Waiting on another blow-up game? I do think so. I mean, he should have had a blow-up game against Lattimore, just barely missed that touchdown. I do think the blow-up game is coming, absolutely. Connor 100% saved you. Oh, yeah, what a monster. You played him because Parker was out. Yeah, good job. You got lucky, I guess, in that sense. You should have probably been playing him over Parker regardless, but certainly now, obviously, that's great. Carol said Carson's return to practice Wednesday, so we'll see. Thanks, as always. Thank you, sir. I know some of our only hardcore fans are left here, so thank you guys for still being here with us. I do want to make sure I make it clear here. I'm going to be at the Patriots game on Sunday, so our usual sit start show, we're going to be bumping up, I believe, to Saturday at the usual time, Saturday at 11 this week. So that way, because I don't know, Sunday, obviously going to the Pats game, it's going to be tough to figure that out. And I know there's going to be some news and things that impacts that, and I apologize, but we'll be going on Saturday just so at least we have some sort of show for you guys. Maybe the Truth and CJ can get something going on Sunday. I don't know. I know Sunday mornings are tough for you, Truth, so we will see.
My kid has a soccer game and a basketball game, so I don't know. So
probably won't be the Truth. Maybe Jimbo Slice. We'll probably throw somebody
Slice on the air. Are you sure about that?
Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That could be the downfall. A live Jimbo Slice. No, he's great. So, yeah, guys, just giving you guys that heads up. Sunday is going to be a little bit of a different schedule. Once I talk to CJ, no more. But tomorrow, Thursday, and Wednesday, live 7 p.m. So we'll know before then. And, of course, our Thursday show, as always, which we've already said. We're going to put quite a few back on Thursday. And I'm looking forward to it. So, guys, thank you so much again. On your way out, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. It means the world. Check out RoseReedJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. I'm the wolf.
I'm the Truth.
Best of luck to Pittsburgh defense. Truth, 40 points tonight. Let's get it. But cheers, everybody. Thanks again. In a world full of fancy sheep, be the wolf, guys. Later.
Later.